Buenos dias. Chamriapsur. Assalamu alaikum. How are you? When we last left our story of Nur-ed-Din and Enis-el-Jelis, also known as the Fair Persian, from the 1001 Nights, they had just left their home, fleeing basically for their lives because they had been betrayed by El-Moin and a fellow vizier, and abandoned by their friends, they had fled to Baghdad. They sailed up the Tigris. And once in Baghdad, they found themselves at a garden of delight, beautiful garden owned by the Caliph. And now, if you don't know what a Caliph is, he is essentially, in the Islamic faith, he would be the Pope. So he would be even over a king or a sultan. So they were in this garden of delight, and the groundskeeper, Sheikh Ibrahim, finds them, decides not to whip them, because, quite honestly, because they're both so beautiful, both Nur-ed-Din and Enis-el-Jelis. So Ibrahim hangs out with them, claims the garden is his, and Nur-ed-Din and Enis-el-Jelis actually request, after a nice dinner, that Ibrahim should go get them some wine. Now, in the Islamic faith, alcohol consumption is generally frowned upon. In fact, not just drinking alcohol is bad. Making it is bad. Selling it is bad. Delivering it is bad. So Nur-ed-Din comes up with a scheme where he basically tells Ibrahim to get on his ass, which is a donkey, and offer somebody else the money to go get the alcohol, and then hang it on a bag off of the ass, and then Ibrahim will bring it back, but he'll never have to touch the alcohol. So Ibrahim brings it back, and they're ready to rock and roll all night and party every day. And so we begin again. The 1001 Nights, the story of Nur-ed-Din and Enis-el-Jelis. The Sheikh Ibrahim, after laughing at his words, replied, "By Allah, I have never heard one more witty than thou, nor heard speech more sweet." And Nur-ed-Din said to him, "We have become dependent upon thee, and thou hast nothing to do but to comply with our wishes. Bring us therefore all that we require." The Sheikh Ibrahim then brought to them sweet-scented flowers and seated himself at a distance from them, and they continued drinking in a state of utmost delight until the wine took effect upon them, and their cheeks reddened, and their eyes wantoned like those of the gazelle, and their hair hung down, whereupon the Sheikh Ibrahim said, "What aileth me, that I am sitting at a distance from them? Why should I not sit by them? And when shall I be in the company of such as these two, who are like two moons?" He then advanced and seated himself at the edge of the raised portion of the floor. And Nur-ed-Din said to him, "O my master, by my life, I conjure thee to approach and join us." So he went to them, and Nur-ed-Din filled a cup, and looking at the sheikh, said to him, "Drink, that thou mayest know how delicious is its flavor." But the Sheikh Ibrahim, being a good Muslim, exclaimed, "I seek refuge with Allah. Verily, for 13 years I have done nothing of that kind." And Nur-ed-Din, feigning to pay no attention to him, drank the cup, and threw himself upon the ground, pretending that intoxication had overcome him. Upon this, Enis-el-Jelis looked towards the sheik and said to him, O Sheik Ibrahim, see how this man hath treated me. O my mistress, said he, what aileth him? She rejoined, Always doth he treat me thus. He drinketh the while, and then sleepeth, and I remain alone and find no one to keep me company over my cup. If I drink, who will serve me? And if I sing, who will hear me? The sheik, moved with tenderness and affection for her by her words, replied, It is not proper that a cup companion be thus. The damsel then filled the cup and, looking at the Sheik Ibrahim, said to him, I conjure thee by my life that thou take it and drink it. Reject it not, but accept it, and refresh my heart. So he stretched forth his hand and took the cup and drank it. And she filled for him a second time and handed it to him, saying, O my master, this remaineth for thee. He replied, By Allah, I cannot drink it. That which I have drunk is enough for me. But she said, By Allah, it is indispensable. And he took the cup and drank it. She then gave him the third, and he took it, and was about to drink it, when lo! Nur-ed-Din raised himself and said to him, O Sheik Ibrahim, what is this? Did I not conjure thee a while ago, and thou refusedst, and saidst, Verily, for 13 years I have not done it. The Sheik Ibrahim, touched with shame, replied, By Allah, I am not in fault, for she pressed me. And Nur-ed-Din laughed, and they resumed their carousal. And the damsel, turning her eyes towards her master, said to him, O master, drink thou, and do not urge the Sheik Ibrahim, that I may divert thee with the sight of him. So she began to fill and to hand her master, and her master filled and gave to her. And thus they continued to do, time after time, till at length the Sheik Ibrahim looked towards them and said, What meaneth this? And what sort of carousal is this? Wherefore do ye not give me to drink, since I have become your cup companion? And they both laughed until they became almost senseless, and then drank and gave him to drink, and they continued thus until the expiration of a third of the night, when the damsel said, O Sheik Ibrahim, with thy permission, shall I rise and light one of the candles which are arranged here? Rise, he answered, but light not more than one candle. But she sprang upon her feet, and beginning with the first candle, proceeded until she had lighted 80. She then sat down again, and presently Nur-ed-Din said, O Sheik Ibrahim, in what favor am I held with thee? Wilt thou not allow me to light one of these lamps? The sheik answered, Arise, and light one lamp, and be thou not also troublesome. As you can see, I've already done things backwards. The lamps were already lit. And I only have 3 candles, not 80, but that's the best I can do for y'all. So he arose and began with the first lamp, and then lighted all the 80. So even 1,000 years ago, this is of course where we get the word, this party is lit. And the saloon seemed to dance. And after this, the Sheik Ibrahim, overcome by intoxication, said to them, Ye are more frolicsome than I, And he sprang upon his feet and opened all the windows and sat down again with them. And they continued carousing and reciting verses, and the place rang with their merriment. Like I said, this party's happening. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Now God, the all-seeing and all-knowing, who hath appointed a cause to every event, had decreed that the Khalifa should be sitting that night at one of the windows looking towards the Tigris by moonlight. And he looked in that direction and saw the light of the lamps and candles reflected in the river. And turning his eyes up towards the palace and the garden, he beheld it beaming with those candles and lamps, and exclaimed, "Bring hither to me Ja'far el-Barmeki." In the twinkling of an eye, Ja'far stood before the prince of the faithful, and the Khalifa said to him, "O dog of viziers, dost thou serve me and not acquaint me with what happeneth in the city of Baghdad?" "What," asked Ja'far, "is the occasion of these words?" The Khalifa answered, "If the city of Baghdad were not taken from me, the palace of diversions were not enlivened with the light of the lamps and candles, and its windows were not opened, woe to thee! Who would do these things unless the office of Khalifa were taken from me?" So the Khalifa sees this party going on. He's wondering why he wasn't invited. Tomorrow, we'll find out why.